take that rag off your head, go back where you came from. Navjit, je tu bhi kuch banna, bani. Ek din tu bani, to unan dikhai tu kuch ban sakti. Hi everyone, my name is Navjit Kaur Brar.
Navjit Kaur Brar is making history as the first turban-wearing Sikh woman elected to public office in Canada.
Navjit, tenu thoda ja strong banna paina. You can't survive in a world like this. My mom was saying, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਫੇਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਜਾਊਂਗੀ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਖਾ ਜੂਗੇ I couldn't see my kids and it was to the point where my mother-in-law and my mother were taking care of my kids.
Not being the typical mother-in-law.
No, not at all. What's going to happen to all the sick generation of kids who wanted to do something but then they see someone like me falling? Children as young as grade 5 are starting vaping product to inspire young youth to do better.
At Livewithliv today, we have Navjit Kaur Brar. She's the first turban-wearing woman leading a city as a city councillor in Brampton. Moreover, being a healthcare professional, working as a respiratory health therapist, is now a politician. Let's talk to her and know more about what's behind Navjit.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So, welcome Navjit to Livewithliv, and we'll just dig deeper into the person behind Navjit. How she was born and raised in Brampton and eventually leading a major part of the city today. So, gives immense proud moment for us, for the residents, for people and Sikhs across the globe to have the first turban-wearing women lead like a city that's Brampton. And I would just want to forget about politics for a minute and dig deeper on this Mother's Day on who is Navjit? How was she when she was a young child and going to school? Just explain a little more on how were your days when you went to school as a young little Navjit?
So, as a child, I was very quiet. I'm an introvert at heart. A lot of people didn't know me. And I think because I was very selective with friends. I would probably be the child that was in the library studying all day long. And I think the one thing I knew how to do was help others. And I think that's the one thing that has got me through my childhood.
Wow. And eventually, the friend circle, as you were an introvert and pretty much not talking to a lot of people right there, how was your day looking like? Like coming home, staying with parents, staying close to your mom or dad, how was it? How did you spend your day and the evenings?
Yeah, that's a really good question because so my parents came from Punjab when way back. They're 65 years old now, so they were probably here when they were around 20 years old. Born and raised in Brampton. My parents used to work a lot. I want to say 2 to 3 jobs. My dad drove a taxi. My mom worked in a factory. I didn't see them much when I came home. I had my grandparents at home, and they took care of me and my brother. I saw my parents work very, very hard to the point where they would come home exhausted, but they provided for us. And that was the one thing I saw. And they didn't have to say anything that, I'm sorry, we weren't there for you. They were always there for me, regardless of what they did. Because at the end of the day, they worked because they wanted us to have a better life.
Yeah, and there was a lot running as a kid in your mind, looking at your parents, their struggles. You always had that zeal to pretty much do something in life, I guess, from a very young age.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't want to let them down. And I think that's what kept me sane through my high school too. Studying in a way, making sure that I could be the best that I could be for them. And eventually it was for myself too, when I saw that how proud they were of me, of becoming something. So as a respiratory therapist, you find there's compassion, especially when you work with patients who are going through the worst moments in your life.
So now the schooling, Navjit, being in Brampton, what schools did you go to, and how was the school life for Navjit Kaur?
So I went to Greenbrier, then I went to Chinguzi, and then after I went to U of T. So I wasn't the most popular kid in school at all. Very quiet kid. I stayed to myself. Went to class. Was that the kid who went to the front of the class and sat there? I hated doing presentations. Never liked presentations at all. But for me, life was getting through it, because that's what I saw within my parents, getting through life and trying to become something.
Wow. Yeah, so Navjit, being born and raised in a Sikh family, right? I guess as South Asian women already are fighting for a lot of rights since a long, long time. Plus being in a religion where there are a couple of rules and regulations that need to be followed, and then pretty much parents are very naive in terms of making sure that our children should be very particular about the religion they follow. Like, how would you grow into Navjit Kaur being in those circumstances? How was family? Did anyone stop you from being who you are today?
No, great question. And if I rewind back to grade 5, that's when I actually started tying a patka myself. It was my decision. No one had told me I had to cover my head. It was something that was through family, through Kirtan, through Gurbani, that we've been going through as children, going through summer camps at Malton Gurdwara.
Oh.
I remember that. But it was, it makes you who you are as a person. And I can say family truly does make you who you are. And my babyji, who had 4 sons, she was a very strong woman. My babyji would make sure all of the girls would come first. Navjit, je tu vi kuch banna, bani. Ek din tu bani, to unan dikhai tu kuch ban sakdiyan. And I think those are kind of like inspirational moments from my babyji that I carry on now. Wow. And my mom was the same. My mom is a very quiet person also, also an introvert. Maybe I get that from her. But my babyji also kept telling me that, Navjit, tenu thoda ja strong banna paina. You can't survive in a world like this. And I remember going through school. Sometimes I would come home crying to my babyji, because sometimes my babyji would be the only one that would be home. My mom would be working all day. And I would talk to her. She would comb my hair sometimes and talk to me. Sometimes I didn't want to look at her because I was crying so much. But it's those moments where you build relationships with your babyji, whether it's your mom or your babyji, but it's those moments that make you who you are. And I think Sikhi has really brought the best of me. Whether it's doing seva. I remember going to Malton Gurdwara, and my mom and dad would bring me there to teach us how to do seva. Whether it's prashade, whether it's just vartaying langar at the Gurdwara. Those are the things that make me who I am today. And
the compassion, the humility pretty much adds on with the religion, I guess. And then Bebe was the powerhouse pretty much,
yes,
right? Binding the whole thing together.
Yeah.
So how does she do that on a day? Like, she's been probably, Bebe is someone who's 80, 90, right? Probably you could see 100-year generation gap there, pretty much. So how could she carry that personality from then?
Honestly, I commend her for everything she has been doing for not just me, but all of my cousins across that live in Brampton. She was a strength of nature. I'm honestly going to tell you, she had 4 sons, and that did not stop her from making the differences in our lives. Wow. She would come home, making sure that she made roti for us. So when my mom came home, everything would be done for her. Like, how amazing is to see that another woman supporting another woman. Wow. And understanding the problems that she's going through.
So not being the typical mother-in-law.
No, not at all. My babyji was one of the most inspirational people I've ever met.
That's great. That's great. And eventually moving forward, Navjit. Now Navjit goes to school, builds up a life, and goes to Chinguzi and knows Brampton by heart. You've seen Brampton grow pretty much from a very young age, even Brampton. So how did you evolve in life? What did you do as a career? And then eventually, how did it turn out for you?
Yeah. So I met my husband, Avtar. So we both went to Chinguzi together. Then our family friends, we kind of know each other through there, and that's how that started with my husband. So truly am very, I have no words to kind of describe him. He has been my best friend ever since high school. And
How did the introvert Navjit find Avtar pretty much? How did dating came in?
I think he found me.
Okay, it's the other way now.
Yeah, definitely he found me. I would never approach anyone. That was just never my...
Okay, I get it.
And definitely been a very supportive friend for me growing up through whether it's high school or university, in making sure that as a woman I was treated with respect. And I think that's one of the things that really caught on to me, that how can anyone be able to respect a woman like that, and making sure that they have a place in their heart for me. So honestly, truly was inspired by him. And when I met his whole family, again, his mom, my mother-in-law, which is right now, she has been an amazing person for me. And honestly, been so lucky with all three levels of life, where I have my mom, my mother-in-law, and my babyji part of my life, where they have fully supported me.
And moreover, coming to Mother's Day, like we're celebrating Mother's Day today in the podcast as well. Like, what's the message? How did a mother make a difference in your life?
That's a very big question. Mothers have unconditional love. Mothers do things you may not even notice. So growing up, my mom would, make sure my lunches were ready for us, making sure our hair was done for us, making sure little things she would do for us, but we would not realize until we got older. And I remember my mom was saying, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਫੇਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So those are truly, I really appreciate what mothers do. And having my mother-in-law, sometimes I would come home and she would have all the washrooms cleaned. I would come home, all the kids are fed. Little things like that. As mothers, I don't even have to tell her what to do. She just does it for me because she knows how important it is for us to be supported. So, and just
eventually, like, from getting so much humility and compassion and love from the mothers, and being one today and raising 3 kids, like, how is life? And how do you feel about Mother's Day?
No, so truly, as Mother's Day, it's about gratitude and respect. I don't really care about the gifts. I think it's more about the hugs that you get from your kids. My son is 10 years old. I have a daughter who's 8 and another daughter who's 4. So they have really big emotions right now. It's the little cards that they give me to appreciate me. But more than that, it's spending time with them. Honestly, because as a counselor, I don't have a lot of time. And sometimes those are the struggles I do face as a counselor. And if I get that one day to spend with them, they're so happy, right? And those are my favorite days. Yeah.
So who's your favorite child?
There's no favorite child. You can never ask. You're not allowed to ask that.
No, that's great. That's great. So Navjit, having a career as a respiratory health therapist and then eventually switching to politics, how was COVID for you, and how has life transitioned to being a counselor?
So like I told you, my whole life was about achieving, what was impossible. So my parents always wanted me to do what I wanted to do. Science was my life. Becoming a respiratory therapist was a dream for me. Working with people that I truly care about, helping people was my passion. That's what I wanted to do truly. With COVID, it was hard. We had patients all over the floor, from one side to another, telling me, Navjit, help me, help my son here, or help my father here. It was hard. There were times I'd come home crying because I just didn't know what to do. And the hardest part was, during COVID, we had to isolate. I couldn't see I couldn't see my kids. And it was to the point where my mother-in-law and my mother were taking care of my kids. While they were taking care of my kids, I was taking care of other patients. And it was a time where I thought I had to do something. We had so many patients being transferred to other hospitals where they were from Brampton. I saw wives separated from husbands, children getting separated from their other siblings because there wasn't enough room here. And with all of that coming together, it really inspired me to run. Want to do something first, and then want to run and do something. And looking back at that, I remember talking to my dad. He said, "Je tu politics jaungi, tenu kha juge." Because I was never a politician. I was never born as a politician. I worked in healthcare my whole life. And he even said to me, how can a healthcare worker go into politics and survive? And he just told me, Navjit, just whenever you go into politics, remember, you're going into politics, but your family's coming with you. And that was truly the inspiring words from my father. And I remember that every day, because it's important to make sure you protect your family, but also whatever you fight for, you're fighting for your family too. So that's really my journey. And I'm not going to say I put in my name right away. It took maybe a couple of months.
Now, how did you motivate yourself? Pretty much door knocking is the hardest job. And facing people, from introvert to knocking doors, that's a huge transition.
So the inspiration actually came from my family. So I had the back of my family. When I knew I had the back of my family, I could do anything. And I think I really run on gratitude. If you can make a difference in one person's life, imagine the impact you can make on a whole community. So that was something that drove me to run. And then door knocking, obviously not simple, but it has to be done. And door knocking from place to place. I remember the door being shut on me, not even looking at me because the way I looked. I know some people even said, you don't even speak here. You don't even speak English. You're not even from here. How can a person like you run? So it was very hard. I remember telling Avtar, I don't think I want to run anymore. Like, no one likes me. No one appreciates who I am. And I remember him telling me, you know what? People have to see you for who you are. People don't know who you are. People just see a face right now. And he even told me, he's like, once people start talking to you, you will change their mind. And I think that's where the inspiration came from. But family is definitely who I rely on the most.
Do you think like the barriers that we feel in today's world, of course, there's a couple of identity related barriers that come in. And as you're sharing it with me, any instance where you felt pretty much broken and like not continuing in politics and then pretty much losing it all on a day and being like, okay, this is not meant for me?
Yeah. My first year as a counselor, I've had comments where people say, take that rag off your head. Go back where you came from. You don't belong here. Honestly, it's very sad because what if my kids saw that? What if my kids saw what they were saying to their mother? And honestly, it was a time where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't handle this. There's so many people in this world that do not realize the changes that we make. But now I'm getting all this hate, this racism, because the way I look. And honestly, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go further with it. And I remember going to my parents' house, going to my mom and crying and telling her that this is happening to me. And all she didn't even look at me. And she was actually cooking sabji. And she turns around, she's like, Navjit, tu kuch bhi kar sakdi hai. She's like, you came to me before, you said it to me once, but if Guru Sahib is with you, you can do anything. Wow. And I remember just at that moment where I realized the faith that I have as a Sikh person, the values I follow as a Sikh are very important with me. Wow. And I remember going to the Gurdwara that day and really sitting there and talking to myself and understanding why I'm here. And I just thought for a moment, as a Sikh, if I'm representing the Sikh community, who else would run if I'm not there? Wow. What's going to happen to all the Sikh generation of kids who wanted to do something, but then they see someone like me falling? So it made me stronger as a person that if a person like me, who is an introvert, who is so shy growing up, as a Sikh, I follow my faith. I am who I am because the way my parents have brought me.
Wow.
If I can't do it, then how can they? And then that's truly what inspired me to keep going. And now, ever since that, I never feel like, anyone can stop me as long as Guru Sahib is with me. And Gurdi Kirpanal, the moment is given to you by Guru Sahib. And I'm grateful for whatever Guru Sahib has to give me.
So for the women out there who are still probably deciding, the fear of judgment, the fear of speaking out loud or taking that first step, what could be a motivation from your side?
I would say, look deep within yourself and really find why you want to do something. And then you pause and then you think, when you go through that journey, you be humble, be respectful. Because as women, we're allowed to be strong and respectful. We can lead both. And remember that you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. But we learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
And we will become better. But, make sure you have a space. You make your space, you have a voice, and use that voice to be, more than a woman for one person, but be for the future generation to come. Yeah.
So, Navjit, as a counselor today, being in those shoes, what is the difference that you're bringing in Brampton and how are you giving back to the community?
That's a great question. There's so many ways, but from parents' perspective, vaping is one of the top issues for parents, where we're seeing a lot of kids who are getting addicted to a lot of these drugs, vaping products. Last couple of months ago, I brought in the motion to actually enforce stronger enforcement for vaping products. There was an interesting story where a principal had told me that a child had ordered pizza. A big box of pizza came in through the front office, and the principal was standing around doing other work, noticed a child came in, gave $50 to the pizza delivery boy. And she was kind of like, hey, that's a lot of money for a pizza box. She goes to the child, hey, pizza's not that expensive. $50 is a lot of money. And the child says, oh, it's a special pizza. Principal's looking at the child and thinking, okay, this is very strange. She opens a pizza box. There's vape products in the pizza box. Children as young as grade 5 are starting vaping products. It's harming a lot of our kids. Some of them are not even coming to school because they're out getting these vape products. And some kids who wouldn't have even tried smoking are now trying smoking because they're getting addicted to nicotine. So stronger enforcement is very important for our parents, making sure that if there is a store that's selling to underage kids, that the enforcement part should be stronger and that they should be prohibited from selling vape products.
So Navjit, pretty much wrapping up today's session, what do you feel like Navjit is going to be in the next probably decade? And how do you feel life coming along, making a difference, or what's going to change now?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think, honestly, I don't have any future plans because I don't know how long I have, what Guru Sahib's plan is for me. But I do know that selfless service is a very important part of me. From, doing Langar di Seva at Malton Gurdwara, from my parents teaching me to be a strong woman in my life. It's important to just, take it as it is. So I was a quiet person in those cubbies, studying away from becoming a respiratory therapist. And who would have thought Navjit Kaur Brar would have been a politician? This is crazy for anyone to hear that, because anyone who knew me back then would have thought I could actually sit here and talk in front of so many people, right? But for me, it's to make that difference. Reality is to make that difference in a person's life, making sure I'm there for my children when they need me. But the most important is to instill Sikhi values within my children, whether it's through Kirtan, Gurbani, Simran, making sure they're going to the Gurdwara whenever they can, and understanding the values I was taught and passing them on to my kids.
Wow, that's great. That's a really humble ending.
Thank you so much for having me here.